All right, ladies and gentlemen, this episode of The Tiger Pit is brought to you by Athlon Rub. Athlon Rub is the next generation in performance and recovery for all sports. It is a new approach on the traditional Thai oil formula, founded on the time-tested formula and enhanced through proven ingredients. Made in an FDA and ISO certified lab in the USA, certified and continually tested by Informed Choice to be free of banned substances, PEDs, and cross-contamination. You can go to athlonrub.com and take a look at all the products they have available, read testimonials from users, and see what everybody else is saying. And when you got some things in your cart, get an additional 10% off when you use the promo code TheTigerPit. That's athlonrub.com and promo code TheTigerPit for an additional 10% off all the cool stuff you're gonna buy. We are also brought to you by Knock My Legends. Knock My Legends celebrates the heroes, legends, and icons of Muay Thai and kickboxing. Their mission is to create art in the form of apparel that honors each fighter's contribution to the sport and the art we love. They also have a great selection of shirts, gear, and accessories that highlight the greats from the sport from the past up until today. You can go to knockmylegends.com, that's NAKMUAY legends.com, as well as Facebook and Instagram, and check out what they have. And when you're ready to buy something, you're at checkout, enter the promo code TheTigerPit for an additional 10% off your purchase. Again, that's knockmylegends.com, NAKMUAY legends.com, or Knock My Legends on Facebook and Instagram. This episode also brought to you by Diplomatico Rum. Diplomatico is distributed in over 80 countries around the world. It holds the Ron de Venezuela DOC and is recognized as one of the world's finest rums. They have 3 different ranges for your tastes: traditional, prestige, and the distillery collection. You can find them online at rondiplomatico.com. That's Ron, R-O-N, which means rum in Spanish. For those of you who don't speak Spanish, who listen to this program, you probably should speak Spanish. Listen to this program, you'll probably enjoy it. Anyways, it's rondiplomatico.com to learn more about who they are and find out some history behind one of the world's greatest rums. We are also brought to you by Unplugged Essentials. Hemp is at the core of their innovation. However, not all hemp is created equal. Instead of using either isolated CBD or cannabis oil, which are the most popular cannabis-derived products on the market right now, they have infused their soaks with a water-soluble, hemp-derived, phytocannabinoid-rich powder. This way, they make sure that all their products take advantage of the several hundred bioactive components present in hemp. They also make no compromise in quality to ensure each batch is lab-tested and 100% THC-free. You can find them on Instagram and Facebook, or go to unpluggedfloatessentials.com and get yours today. And you can use the promo code TheTigerPit at checkout for an additional 10% off your order. That's Unplugged Essentials on Instagram and Facebook, and unpluggedfloatessentials.com online, just, regular online. And like I said, use the promo code TheTigerPit for 10% off your order. All right, and this is for our New York friends and listeners here. We are also brought to you by the Stepping Razor Barbershop at 952 Flushing Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. The Stepping Razor leans into the realm of the classic 1940s American barbershop. They specialize in American classic traditional haircuts and shaves, but are versatile and can do much, much more. You can check them out on Instagram at the Stepping Razor Barbershop, or go to thesteppingrazor.com to book your appointment and get yourself looking good and feeling good. And lastly, we are brought to you by the Dojo NYC at 1082 Cypress Avenue in Ridgewood. The Dojo NYC is a fully equipped martial arts training center specializing in Cobrinha Jiu-Jitsu, traditional Muay Thai, and MMA. Whether you want to go and just get a good workout or compete at a high level, it's a great place to train. You can also go to the dojonyc.com and check out their classes, instructors, programs, and even sign up for a free trial class, which hopefully after you do that, you'll sign up for more and keep going and get better at jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, whatever it is you're going for. That's the dojonyc.com online and the Dojo NYC on Instagram. All right, we made it through the sponsors. So, this weekend in New York was the big Felabration celebration, celebrating the life and music of Fela Kuti. So we figured it was a perfect opportunity to get one of Brooklyn's original OG Afrobeat stars on the show. So our guest on this episode of the show is a frontman, percussionist, teacher, and a martial artist. His spirit was first ignited at Fela's Club, The Shrine, in Lagos, Nigeria. As a lead singer and percussionist for Antibalas, he's ignited festival crowds and packed audiences across 4 continents, sharing the stage with heavyweights such as James Brown, The Roots, Michael Franti and Spearhead, Tony Allen, Femi Kuti, Seun Kuti, and Baaba Maal, just to name a few. He is also senior master of the Jiaoga Kung Fu School of Martial Arts and has also trained and performed the role of the lion head in traditional Chinese lion dance for over 20 years. He also fronts his own group, Amayo's FU-ARKIST-RA, where he bridges the philosophies and movements of Afrobeat and Kung Fu. So without further ado, will you please welcome to the Tiger Pit, Amayo.
On the next episode of Adventures in Edibles.
It's a Cavarian and a Polish guy.
Okay, we'll start the podcast right here.
It's 9 o'clock. It's dark enough. I'm putting on my ninja suit.
That's the part, right? You gotta get into your head.
Now you're struggling with your words.
Check the Yelp reviews. I'm sure they have like 4. It's amazing.
I was trying to get that out, and I had a hard time struggling in my head.
They just see something they don't recognize, they check out immediately.
I had a point.
Coming to the stage.
I've heard this many times from different sources.
You didn't even know me when I was hanging out there.
That sounds like such a burnout thing to do.
Tiger Pit.
So she applied for TED on my behalf and got all the application came in. They had all these questions. Perfect. So each question took me into my past.
Okay.
So I got, I started flowing, kind of how we're talking right now. Mm-hmm. And then my girl was like, turn on the phone. So I turned on the phone and just started talking about a story over there. Talk about what happened in Lagos. We talk about what happened to you when you were at Howard. So all how the flow of how my life brought me to Brooklyn, to Williamsburg, to 9/11, that whole, and what I was doing then and what I was searching for. I was kind of like trying to, I was trying to get the fuck out, of New York or whatever, of America, not New York, but of America. The concept of America, I felt myself like I was seeing it face to face that it's not what it was, because when I came, I was 17.
Oh, you were?
Wow.
All these years I've known you, I never really knew the story. Up until when I met you, I didn't know nothing before that.
Yeah.
I just knew from there forward.
Yeah, exactly. From that
no
moment.
Backstory.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
20-something years of knowing you, I don't know nothing before that time.
Zionics and
That's where it starts.
That's where
our life starts,
That is kind of where, matter of fact, I was telling my girl, I said, you know what, man? I said, do you know like there is a footage that exists? I haven't seen it. Of the party that happened.
I have some.
I
have a VHS tape with both performances. Believe it, both performances are on there.
VHS.
VHS.
We should get it converted, bro.
Yeah. I
have like a whole suitcase of VHSs that I'm having.
Not VHS. I'm sorry. What's the small?
You had that little camera.
Yeah, the
mini DV or whatever they call it.
Yes, mini DV. Yes, exactly.
Or whatever. Yeah, the camcorder thing.
Yes, that's right.
Well, yeah, but you can have all that.
But man, those parties were great.
Yeah.
Tell you, man, that is a footage because we were embarking on doing this documentary for Antibalas because it was 20 years and
cool, man.
Through conversations, we should just do a little documentary, and then my girl, my wife, she's the queen of manifestation.
Nice.
And her friends gave her that name, right? And
Make stuff happen.
Yeah, and then she just, you know what? I should embody the name because when we had the baby, we were like in a place where we gotta do something.
Yeah.
Now we got a baby on our hands, or a baby coming, So, she sold her apartment in Manhattan. It was like she was in a squatted building that she had been for 10 years. And she's one of those, she has all her friends in that building call her Miss Manifestation because she knows how to make shit happen.
Yeah.
So
that's a good nickname to have.
Yeah. So she took that nickname and made it a business. And while we had the baby, she wrote a book. I mean, like all this stuff was happening. Manifestation Made Easy. She's like household name right now. She's fucking rocking it.
I like this woman already.
Oh, her name is Jen. Right? Anyway, Jen, she was just So I
Shout out
always
to Jen.
like when I tell her things, I gotta be ready to take action or don't tell her.
Oh, you keep it.
Yeah, keep it
Yes,
until you're ready.
right?
yeah.
Because she's gonna call you out.
She's gonna call you
better
out
do
in a
this.
second. Yeah, so I've been living with this woman. Like,
Hey,
she's
that's a
like,
positive thing right there.
Yeah, she kept me on my toes and kind of walk on my craft a bit more. Anyway, make a long story short, she suggested, yo, you guys should just do a crowdfunding. You guys you got a story. 20 years, I know you. I've known you guys. I know the story behind the story. And I know all the lies inside the stories and blah blah blah. So you know what I'm saying? He said, so we did crowdfunding. Martin was like, man, Martin didn't want to do it.
No.
Martin is Mr. He thinks the whole society is against us, which is
It is.
good.
Sometimes.
Yeah, I mean?
There's truth there. Yeah,
there is a lot of truth to that, right? But you don't need to stay there forever.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
You can change the game.
But exactly, you got to flip the script. You know. So I was saying, yo, man, but we got to do something differently, and we got to look at it from a different place. Like why don't we tell the story? Let's tell our story by having besides other people telling our story. So my girl said, yo, crowdfund this stuff. Why don't you guys, Martin would say, yeah, let's raise like 20. My girl said, no, let's raise 100,000, dude. So we were like, you know what, let's come in the middle, $50,000. And we raised $50,000. Because she said it, she said, you know what, because I talked you guys into it, I'll run it for you. She ran it, we succeeded, we made the money, so things kind of started from that point on.
Have you started production on this?
We are in the middle of a lot of talking. We had a director came in, and a friend who was also a donor, checked in and came on board. Things didn't go so well with her. She's a Nigerian lady, but she meant well. She was solid, but she was more of a producer. Like she could raise money, but she wanted to do both, and I thought because she wanted to wear both hats.
That's a lot to execute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It put her in a place where she made all these demands because trying to wear the director hat made her boss us too much to a point where it kind of rubbed people off the wrong way, But I knew where she was headed with the whole thing. Where it was not the right situation, So, but when we raised the money. And we met a lot of people. We met a guy who was probably going to foot the whole bill.
Wow.
So we are trying to tread that, that water with care. Want to put a solid package together and probably put a crew together to work with him. So because I'm not a filmmaker, but I'm trying to be one at some point.
Well, you're an artist, so you know how to flow with different things,
As a matter of fact, I've always, I was part of what I was reading about what I was telling my whole story was when I was in college, I had this thesis statement that says design knows no boundaries or art knows no boundaries. So, and my name is Amayo, which means if you don't go, you never know. So those two things put together has been my driving force. You know what I mean?
Nice.
Every time we tell me
really
something.
What it means?
Yeah,
it does
Amayo,
mean, yeah, that's really what it means.
It means if you don't go, you never know. So that's great. That was how I was able to talk my mom into coming to America. Because I was 17.
You said, you named me this.
Yeah, exactly. At the end of the day, when the argument dropped, when she says, you're not going, because I'm my mom's only child, she was, protective of her son.
Rightfully so.
Yeah. So I made all my moves, I got my own visa, got my passport, I got accepted into college. I did all my own old school research. Go to the library.
Sounds like you were the king of manifestation.
You know what I'm saying? I was kind of about action basically, right? Man. So me and her are kind of a good match in terms of she talks the talk and she pushes you to do it. I'm an action guy. You just tell me, boom, I go do it. So, that kind of has driven me and through that whole period, and then coming to New York. I came to New York off of a project where I had 30 dancers, martial artists. I was teaching them martial arts,
Okay.
I want to touch on that too
DC,
a little bit.
Yeah, in DC, just before I came to, before I opened that spot. You know? So I was off of a successful trail of like, I did a campaign where the city of DC hired me to do a Malcolm X campaign. Like this whole ad campaign for the bus, like print ads, graphics. I extended the whole thing. I did the whole T-shirt thing, the whole, you know, because I was always into like, you know, really cool graphics for T-shirts.
Do you do all the graphic work for Antibalas?
In the beginning, yeah, when I first, that was kind of how that was like the trade-off. You know, because I didn't want to be in a band.
You didn't?
No, because you don't make money. I had a business. I had the Afro spot to run. You know, like, then all I thought about was, fortunately then the rent was not so high. And my rent was like $1,000.
Yeah, back then, wow.
You know, when I moved in, it was $750.
Oh my Lord!
But I didn't pay the $750 until after 3 months. So I moved in 3 months free rent to renovate.
Yeah, old school style.
So
old
I came in like bust ass. I gotta do it quick, you know, like
they don't do that no more.
And then they're like,
you ain't getting that no more.
Yeah, man.
That place was big too.
Oh man, I didn't like do the legit lease thing too, because the landlord, I mean, he gave me a lease, like a real legitimate lease, you know, but he didn't really check my
anything.
He didn't check my whole.
That's old school. They're like,
He
oh,
did
you
not
got
check
money?
Jack.
Yeah.
Cool.
I had money, and he liked what I wanted to do because I went into the space, I took pictures, and then I did a whole sketch because I was an illustrator.
Yeah.
So I did a sketch of the space, and wow, I wowed him with my illustration.
Yeah.
He's like, wow.
Yeah. You
gonna do that to my spot? You know, like he's like one of those, you know, those. He's Puerto Rican, and he runs a jewelry business on 47th Street.
Oh, okay.
He's in it.
Exactly, cash. So he's in his office, like, you know, like plexiglass, you know, plexiglass and a rocking chair. And I walked in with my ex-girlfriend then, and it was this blonde Russian, 6 foot tall.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
that's what sealed the deal.
Yeah, the whole exactly. I mean, like, it was all part of, like, it was all like obviously chance, but I was in fashion. I was doing fashion, so I met the girl because her best friend was this Russian guy who was like my, you know, he and I were doing parties in Lower East Side.
Financier.
We're doing this party. Yeah, we're doing this party called Foreplay.
Okay.
And Foreplay, that party was more like, it was an idea between he and I, but that put us in touch with the guys who were doing Organic Grooves.
Oh, all right.
Okay.
So I became security guard for Organic Grooves through Foreplay, because they hired us, our spot, as we did a joint party. Foreplay
At
hosting.
Afro spot?
No.
Oh.
In Lower East Side at my Russian buddy's art studio, where I was living in his art studio in the basement on Stanton Street. Really cool spot. This dude, man, his father owns like a lot of real estate in Lower East Side, Manhattan, like all by the bridge. Like all those buildings by the bridge, like his dad, like, so this guy's name is Dima. You know, he's an artist himself. He paints like murals, but he only paints in his basement. No one ever sees his work. It's very weird. It's very
Does
dark.
anyone see it?
Yo, man, his stuff is really intense. He would paint like this whole, like, from that wall to this whole wall here. He would paint the whole war scene, like people like war.
The war scene. Whoa.
War, tanks, bombs,
Whoa.
rockets, like all kinds of shit. Like they
Super
would be like realistic paintings that he would work on for like months.
Whoa.
And I'm like, I crash on the floor. It's like a whole greenhouse in the basement. Cool spot. Everything is timed. Lighting comes in a certain time of the day. Waterfall comes in. All the plants are getting watered. And I'm like sleeping in there. He's got like the old school dental chairs, and 3 of them.
Oh, okay.
They kind of recline in there, really cool. And we would carry this to a location for our Foreplay party.
The chairs.
Yeah.
Those
it's
things
big.
are not light. They're
Exactly.
heavy.
You got a forklift, bring it in, we fuck that thing up, put on a little truck, haul it there, and then we buy 100 red roses. like planted ovalist and then put red velvet. He had all these really crazy ideas,
crazy visual
but
ideas.
that as an altar for our foreplay party.
Okay.
So man, the place would be packed.
Yeah. Oh
You know,
yeah.
so that's how we met. You know, so that was we did 3 parties, 3 foreplay parties. Met Organic Grooves. Somehow I was able to find my spot. So that was like kind of all my connections came through these parties.
All the pieces fell into place.
And yeah, so it was all like, and all I was trying to do was bring my crew back from DC doing this new race. I had this 25 dancers. We were doing these parties. They would dance, martial arts. I choreographed for them. So it was like a way of bringing all these kids together. So I found a way to do something I truly love. I would print T-shirts, make money. Because that campaign, I raised a lot of money doing the campaign. So I made money. I was able to like be able to, you know, fund this project. So I said, maybe if I can, so some of the kids in the project say, well, let's organize this and actually raise money and do a whole world tour. They were dreaming bigger than I was.
Okay.
Because they got all excited. We could do this whole thing. I could make the clothing for them. We could like make a statement about unity. And that song, UNITY, was big.
Okay.
DC, there was a lot of shooting. So kids were feeling like, so this crew, this new race crew that I brought together became this little nucleus of kids who wanted to go out and help communities. So like,
Do something.
yeah, like, you know, stop the war, whatever, all that whole like gang war stuff that was happening in DC. So, and at the same time, I was finding myself being
So you went straight
maxed.
to DC.
This is all in DC. This is
You
like
went straight.
me.
That was your first stop in the States. Was DC.
My first stop when I came to America was New York and then Texas.
Texas.
I can give you like, I went because Texas. That was where I got accepted in college in Texas.
Oh, okay.
So New York was a stopover, my first layover. But you know, like Nigeria in the 70s, 1 naira of Nigerian money was $2. American.
Okay.
So I came with 10,000 naira traveler's checks. So when I arrived in New York City, when I looked at the rates, my 10,000 was 20 grand.
You're like, whoa.
Yeah.
So I changed it right away. First thing I did was change the money. 17 years old, 20 grand in my pocket, and I looked at and I got a whole day in New York City. So I looked at all that tourist thing, and I saw a helicopter ride. Boom.
You do that. I love it.
So I flew over to New York twice. I did twice, 2 rides. It was $100. It was like dropping the bucket,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
I was
Right.
I was loaded. So you know what?
That's awesome.
But like in hindsight, it makes sense to see why Nigerians, when they come here, they come with a swagger. Mm-hmm. See, the swagger I came with in the 70s, like 78. I came here in 78. I came with like a swagger of like, I don't know, if I bring $1 here, I could triple it easily. Because like, you know, like, so there was abundance, the abundant attitude being shared and nurtured in Nigeria at that time, because we had like FU-ARKIST-RA, the movement of, you know, the American, the 60s activist movement that had climaxed came into Lagos in the 70s.
Okay.
You know, like just think about soul, like the heart of soul, the entire, like, James Brown, Sun Ra, Stevie Wonder, all the people whoever was who back then, all came to Lagos for FU-ARKIST-RA. And I was there. And I was just finishing high school, thinking about how to come to America. And when I saw all that, I was ready, man. That's why I was so motivated, man. I was in the library, researching. I was talking to people. I wanted to know where everything was. I wanted to know the clothing, what everybody was wearing, the gestures, how people talk. So that was my light bulb.
17 years old.
Yeah.
Did you have a plan when you came? Like where you were going to go? Like where you were going to stay? All that stuff? Or?
Well, see, because I was playing sports, I was playing Nigerian. I was playing soccer. Soccer was, really, and I had I have an uncle who was like a superstar in Nigeria who was like motivating us to all. But we were like, those of us who were like his youngins, we were kind of a little faster than him, but because he's the man, but he actually pushed me. So by the time I came to America, I was kind of up to his level of skill, but he just had a lot of experience.
Yeah, experience.
Yeah.
So I was just very, very young and fresh and strong, and I could do quite well in the soccer league year, because our team in Texas, where I ended up when I was coming, I got a full scholarship. I mean, a soccer scholarship. Okay. It's like a tuition scholarship in Texas. So when we won the championship there, then I transferred to Howard because my uncle was at Howard. Okay. So yeah, he paved the way for me to be able to get to Texas, because Texas had a better soccer program. Yeah. And another relative of mine had a guy that graduated from that college, and he ran a radio station. So I was staying with him. So there was a little bit of music happening, so I was always around music, but it was not my focus, And he's from my town, like where I'm from, like my village, So
Were you playing an instrument at that time too?
No, I wasn't. I was just focusing on football. The
You
instruments.
weren't playing any instrument yet?
I grew up playing mandatory percussion
Okay.
in Ghana, during the Civil War in Nigeria. Like a lot of people were displaced. In my neighborhood, there was a lot of violence. So my parents, my dad has 8 wives, but my mom was living with my dad. So my mom and my dad were kind of like taking care of all the kids. So we all kind of had to disperse.
Okay.
My mom sent myself and 3 of our other siblings, children who were living with us, sent us to Ghana for safety, because we didn't have a place to move to from our neighborhood then. While my mom tried to figure out where she was going to move to, because my dad had to move back to the village. So we moved to Ghana. And Ghana was where I got all my percussion, martial art. Well, not martial art, but more fighting, because I grew up in this neighborhood called the Railway Quarters. At the Railway Quarters, every weekend, it's mandatory percussion. So we learned this specific pattern, that you play, which the master was teaching all the kids, And so I studied that, or at least I played that every weekend. And then once a month, we had organized fights.
Nice.
Like actual
Boxing.
Boxing, yeah.
Yeah, ring. They put a ring up in the neighborhood compound. Mm-hmm. And this compound was like where all the military and the police and some experts, where they all live. It's like officers' mess, So it's organized, and then they have like a ring built. So there are no fights in the whole neighborhood.
So
Except
we're talking about
day.
Western boxing, regular Western boxing.
It's old school boxing.
Yeah.
No gloves.
No gloves.
Wrap your
Just
shirt
hand wrap.
around.
That's it.
Wrap your shirt around. Wrap your shirt around your wrist and just toss
Man.
it.
And don't get hit.
These are kids. These are kids.
Yeah, kids.
Oh man.
Yeah, exactly. Like when I first arrived, any kid that first arrived, you're the first to throw in the ring. So I got in the ring with this one kid, and he whirled at me, and then I ran off the ring and ran home crying. And my grandmother shut the door on me and drove me back.
That's funny because I did that with my cousins growing up. Wrapping, we would wrap T-shirt and then put a sock over it. But this is your cousin. You're not beating the shit out of him. Right. You know what I mean? It's, you're not, because you're going to get in trouble if you give your cousin a black eye. But you're talking about you were actually like in sanctioned fights.
Yeah, sanctioned.
As a kid. That's so crazy, man.
But it's officiated, like this. When it gets a little bit out of hand, they jump in and break it off.
That's wild.
And then I cried home, and my grandmother chased me, and I ran back. On my way back, screaming and crying. They said, "Oh, the new kid is crying, he's coming back." So they said, "Where was his opponent?" And they put us back in the ring again. And I took revenge on this guy.
Ooh.
I went at him, crying, hitting, crying. And they grabbed me and pulled me off of him. And
That's so
But you know what? After that day, I became very, very bold about, walking around the neighborhood. And I had no fear. And it was kind of, because I know nothing would ever happen to me. If anybody had beef, wait until the end of the month.
What's at the end of the month?
Oh, that's when the fight.
The fights.
Oh.
And then
right.
you can pick your opponent.
Pick your opponent, right?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's crazy. You call people up in the ring, buddy.
Yeah.
I'll see you in the ring.
Exactly.
So when did you? When did you get into the martial arts thing? Because I know you're a kung fu guy.
Yeah. Well, that was always in Nigeria. In Nigeria, I was like I went to like after I came back from Ghana after the Civil War. So my mom was settled down in this neighborhood, really ghetto neighborhood, was like a slum, like sewage across from my house is where you can like catch like catfish. You know, we set trap for catfish.
Whoa.
So people come to the fish across my house, and over the fence is like a polytechnic, a teachers training college, advanced teachers training college. Just fenced around, and on the other side of it is where Fela's Club was. This is where I got my weed, my first weed ever. So you know, like that whole place, and it's also like this neighborhood is so congested that it leads and feeds into this intersection called Ojuelegba that Fela sings about. It's like the most confusing intersection all over Africa, whatever. I'm sure other places I've gotten. Now they built an overpass.
They're like, yo, forget this place. Jump over it.
That place was where Fela's Club was. That's
Really?
where it was like his
And it was
house.
right near your house?
Across the street was the club. And when he
Wow.
wanted to go to club, he would ride his donkey and it would stop the traffic. That was like
True King style right
my
there,
God.
man.
That was my neighborhood back then, right? So I grew up there, and my way to school, when I'm walking to school, there's this guy that has this blanket on the ground and sells books, comic books. So I would always stop and pick up comic books, you know, like I'll pick up some of these cowboy books because I was always into like, you know, John Wayne and Rin Tin Tin books, but it's all this very generic cowboy, you know, comic books. So one day I walked by because he knows I'm always talking about, you know, about going to, you know, he knew I had interest in martial arts. Then he said, I got a book for you. He got me this book. It's called Lobster Rampa. It's a book by Lobster Rampa called The Third Eye. And the book is like incredible. The cover is his eyes.
The third eye?
The third eye, yeah.
Huh.
And it's like it's supposed to be a yogi book.
Okay.
Or a beginner's yogi or a beginner's whatever, 101 into
Like meditation and
the
things?
study of yogi and the esoteric world, right?
Okay.
And about astral travel.
All right, okay.
Starting to open and
yeah.
how to navigate.
I was 13, you know.
Yeah,
there
that
about
sounds
12,
awesome.
12,
Yeah.
13, exactly. So that book, man, I couldn't really comprehend as much because I was at that age.
Young, yeah.
All I needed was just more pictures. So when I got to a page that started describing astral travel, that became my, you know, that was
You're like,
where
I'm
I
with
would
this.
stop. Yeah. So every night I would be there trying to meditate and trying to like uplift
Yeah.
and breathe because I was staying with we have 10 people living in a house. We all kind of sleep on the floor. So it's always kind of very quiet, like in the early mornings, 4 a.m., 5 a.m. in the morning, everyone is still sleeping. I'll wake up. I've always woken up early morning. So I remember like at 5:30 in the morning, I'm up there, my eyes are open. I start meditating, at least trying to meditate and following all this.
Yeah.
So I was very intrigued, and I always felt like everyone in this house got no idea what the world is about. They got no clue. I was so like zen at home. It's kind of how I navigated myself around all these kids who fucking got no control. At least that's how I thought. Everyone got no control. I got control. You know, like, so I always had this like, so I always try to find.
You have to be the opposite.
Yeah, you know, like find a path to some kind of stillness, some kind of path to like some otherness. I knew there was always something other than what I'm seeing right now.
Sure.
All this stuff, all this stuff people are talking about, all this Christianity stuff, right? There's something more than that.
Right.
I always, you know, like there's something about it that I
That's
just
how I
knew.
was too.
Yeah.
Still am.
And then these books, you know, paved the way. I mean, there was like my little window.
They start to plug you
He
in.
is right here. I knew there was something. I knew something else was out there, you know. And then martial arts was always there. So fortunately for me, I was put into this school where the principal was kind of like that, the principal of our school. So I was observing this guy, you know. So
He was like open like that.
no, there was still something about him.
Uh-huh.
He was not your regular African guy. You know, like, because you know, I know my dad, I know all the people.
Yeah,
This dude, no, he's on another
He was
whole
cool.
plane. Yeah. He was smooth. He spoke differently. He was on another whole plane. I mean, just the way his command of English language was already like.
Isn't it funny how as a kid you will gravitate towards adults that you come across your path like
Yeah.
that. I have a few in my life that are like,
Yeah.
and I'm still close with these people.
You know,
But
this
they
guy
had
always
much
wore-
influence on me. You know,
He always wore black, short sleeve, polished
Tight,
shirts,
yeah.
tight, and no one dressed that way.
Yeah,
No
yeah.
one. Everybody
He
that I
just
knew around.
he just
us,
looked
we
smooth,
saw,
right?
Y'all wearing long sleeve shirts, dressing
In
like
the heat?
Western. Yeah. Oh yeah. Because actually, to be honest with you, like when you wear light color long sleeve shirts,
Yeah, it keeps you
kind of
cooler.
cools you
Yeah.
off because you eat a lot of spicy food. So you get spicy food, you sweat.
yeah.
As you sweat, your pores closes off and it cools you down. It's like it's kind of like
Okay.
Yeah,
a
it's true.
process. And I've been gone for so long. Every time I visit, I say, "Oh, that's the reason why all these motherfuckers are wearing long sleeves."
Yeah,
Like, you kind of get reminded because you go there, you eat the food, you're the only one sweating.
Yeah.
Everybody else is kind of chilling.
Yeah, it's all about long sleeve, light color, and breathable.
Yeah, So it takes about a week to acclimatize to cool your body down to the. Anyway, man, this principal was like that guy. So we had a championship game. He took us, he took us to the room. He brought his babalao in. I know Baaba Maal. My grandmother is one. So I'm like, this is cool. So he said for us to win the championship, they're gonna endow us in this spiritual garb, which comes in this black powder. This guy had prepared this portion. Each of us stood in line. We came in, turn around, cut your back of your neck, black powder, rub it in, say something to you, rub it on your forehead, boom, step off side. All 15 of us, because it was a team of 11 with some extras. We all got this thing. We took our shirts off. It's like one of those, like, the image of that to me right now is like fucking like child molestation, or in someone else's eyes,
Why?
because we're all shirtless.
Oh,
boys'
right.
school.
Oh,
And we have all this black powder on our forehead.
Yeah, but
We
that's
just
so
got- we
culture.
just got-
It's a
I don't know.
different
I'm just
thing.
saying, like,
But I know how
the
most people would
image.
see it, but
Yeah.
what's
Yeah.
happening over here?
Having lived in this culture, the image of that
Yeah.
would be like terrifying.
Sure.
And we have blood running down our necks.
Mm-hmm.
That's some, right? I didn't tell my mom.
No.
Hell no. If I had told my mom, I'll be out of that school. But as a boy, being exposed to that affirms something that I read in, even though it's not even connected, but in some way, that guy and the way he handled the whole thing, the way he even explained it to us was okay. We did it. We won the championship. Boom, affirmed.
It's almost like an initiation into something. Like that, like that
So-
ritual of initiation.
But your mom would have freaked out.
Like,
Why? Because this was happening at school?
At
Because
school,
your grandmother was.
It's a boarding school. It's at school.
Uh-huh.
And
So it's not the
are
place for it to be happening.
It shouldn't be happening.
Yeah, I
there,
know what you're saying now.
Yeah, and it's about soccer. That's got nothing to do with my
Sure.
parents. They don't give a shit about that. They want to make sure our kids are safe and they go home and they got the education, right? Principal is trying to make a statement. We want to win a championship.
Yeah.
So he can brag to his.
Yeah, which then starts to seem almost like it could be a little bit of a corrupted thing, right? Because it's not corrupted, but like
hey.
it's for selfish reason.
Selfish reason, maybe to like promote
That's cool.
his school.
Yeah.
So he can make sure he gets his
Yeah.
money from
Yeah.
benefactors.
Yeah,
Because,
yeah.
I mean, when you think about it, like all the schools that existed back then, how in the hell do you run these schools? They weren't run for real profit, because you don't really make that much money. It's from it's like this other, either like this thing about the need to teach.
Education
the need to
for the education's sake.
Or the need to like mold a certain generation that you can kind of keep track of, whatever. Like it falls in all those categories of someone who has a passion for teaching anyway. So for me, that was how I entered martial arts, because that to me was martial arts in some way. Then I got transferred to another school that actually has a martial arts program.
Okay.
Bam. So as I entered that school, as I joined that school, that was when my father lived, because I was like, it got me close to my dad. It's a very popular art school. And a lot of, aristocrats send their kids to this school. And it's in Benin City. Benin City is like the spiritual capital of Nigeria, connected to Ife. Ife is the historical capital, but for me, Benin is city underneath Ife, the city that keeps the keeper of Ife.
Benin has also given the world some amazing artists and
yes, absolutely. Victor Waifo, democracy comes from Benin City. The design of cities was first experimented in Benin City. Benin City had what you call the perfect road, which is straight and intersects perfectly. It kind of created this whole thing in the architecture. And sometime when the Portuguese and the British invaded, they discovered this incredible city. Like, what the hell? What's this city? Part of how the city got burnt down was because there was a ritual occurring that's like the city is off limits because the king is not available. And this dude was like, no, the queen wants us to step over here and come on to see the king. He says, no, we got our special ceremony. Why don't you come tomorrow? Fuck that. They burnt down the whole city. It's kind of how this is historical. That's the truth. I mean, I kind of abbreviated that whole thing, paraphrasing. What?
It didn't go down like that?
in 5
Word for word. Word for word.
Running down and all,
it happened in 3 minutes.
all the
Where's the king? Tomorrow? No, fuck that. Burn it down. There you go. World history.
Now we're over here.
Fast forward, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, Benin City, Benin City also became the hub of all athletics in Nigeria. It became where people would send athletes to go train because they had really good coaches there. Anyway, in Benin City, I was exposed to this school that was really high. It's like a high culture, They consider themselves as another whole level. And our math teacher, his name is Benjamin Jala. The guy has this cool name. Like, shit, who's that guy?
Yeah.
Benjamin Jala.
Yeah. It's a strong name.
Yeah, he was our math teacher. He could make stuff move by looking at it. I mean, he was our martial arts instructor. He was teaching karate. So he had this whole zenness. So all of us that became members of his school, we became dubbed as the detective squad. This is real shit, dude. And this whole thing, my mom had no idea. Like, she sent me off to the school. The school I discovered martial arts, so I just went off. I just wouldn't go to class. So my grades weren't so good. I was off being detective squad, hanging out, studying martial arts, wanting to be like this
Detective squad. I love it.
And because it's a boarding school, so our job is we can go out of boarding school, we can go out into town. When we go out of town, we go out and make sure that students are not out on campus, out off campus.
I see what you were detecting.
City is off limits to students. So we were detecting students. And then we became this social club. Through our club, we could bring movies to the school. So through bringing movies, we started bringing martial arts films.
Nice.
Started bringing all the Bruce Lee, the big boss. We brought in even before Bruce Lee, we were bringing like people like Wang Yu and Sheng Tsing. Those are like the one-arm boxer. So those became influences for storytelling for us as the social club, detective squad, the martial arts club.
Okay.
Our club grew, we raised money. So we had one flamboyant student who doesn't come to Kung Fu classes, but talks a lot of talk. Okay. This dude today is the largest TV evangelist in West Africa.
Really?
It's like my classmate. He's like the smoothest talker. His name is Chris Okotie. Chris Okotie, in our detective squad, he became the guy who wrote most of our play, because we came up with some plays so we can perform for the student body, to entertain the student body. So we were like really the entertainers of the student body.
Okay.
So we created any kind of entertainment that the school needs. They come to us. So we designed this play called The Game of Death, based on Bruce Lee's movies and martial arts films. And Kuti wrote the whole thing. Chris Kuti came up with the script.
Wow.
And we had there was a whole soundtrack. We had a little small band designed for the whole thing. I played the main character. So we performed this play like about, 12, 14 times. Became very popular, so martial arts became the central part of my life. And then at the end of the school year, my grades were very bad. My mom found out what I was doing. You're supposed to be in college doing martial arts. My dad was like, I bought you 5 tennis rackets. You lost them all. You wanted me to be a tennis player. So I was like, martial arts was my calling. Mm-hmm. So my mom took me out of that college and sent me off to Deeper Village where there was no electricity.
Oh, no.
This place called Ndosimili, which is like Ashaka. But that place was where my shit all came together.
Oh, yeah?
Because
You just had time to focus.
Yeah.
And just practice. And
that school, because there was nothing to do. So you kind of had to join something. Mm-hmm. So I became best friends with the smartest guy on campus. This dude called Christopher Apochi. This dude, his whole mission in life is to study the dictionary and know every word in it.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
like
amazing.
this is like in the village, dude. So I became his best friend. I said, "You, I'm gonna be."
He had the best vocabulary.
Right. Best vocabulary till today. I mean, every time I get his email, his words are not the normal words.
Yeah. You have to get a dictionary to read it, man. Wait, what the hell does this motherfucker mean right now?
Unfortunately, man, he just got so religious now. Like,
oh yeah,
he would just preach all this stuff. Like, man, dude.
Oh, that's a bummer when people.
They always do. They somehow they would get them.
I know it's a bummer when that happens. You're just like, no, stop.
And then all of a sudden they start trying to redirect your way you're thinking.
Yeah.
Oh God, it's not gonna like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it's brainwashing, and then they try to brainwash.
Why don't you
everyone
use
else.
this knowledge of yours and do God's
Yeah.
And then they come with the vocabulary.
Instead of recruiting.
Yeah.
And then they just crush you with that
Yeah.
vocabulary, and you're like, I didn't even
Why
think
don't
I
you
know what
become
language is anymore. This
the
guy knows
new
what he's talking
scribe
about.
of today. Like that's what I said. You know what? If I'm that smart, why don't I help you, Reverend, scribe a new Bible?
Right.
We live in the 20th century. I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, man. So that was, make a long story short, or make a long story longer, that was how my whole martial art thing became the window through how I saw everything. I mean, literally everything. So and then when I left college, throughout college, I got deeper into martial arts when I came to America. I was very lucky. As soon as I came, as soon as I arrived, I was in Texas in that school playing soccer. We won a championship. But actually, the martial arts helped me a lot in soccer. Like when I was playing soccer, I was a midfielder.
Okay.
I was big and tall, taller than most midfielders. So you can't get the ball. I'm sorry. I slow the game down to stand still, and I can do that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. I'll just stop the ball. People would just come. I just move ball over here. You be over here. You come over here. I shield my body. Come over here. I shield over here. And then that's how I messed up my knee. People would just end up kicking me. They would just get angry and whack me in my leg. So I got fouled a lot. But we won the championship in Texas. And then our school got notoriety when I came to D.C., where my uncle was, who was badass soccer player. D.C.'s soccer team it wasn't as that good. They just had all this old players. Like my uncle was one of them who had already lived past their prime, but they didn't really have any competition in D.C. area. Mm. And soccer was bigger in the South, So instead of playing soccer when I came to Howard, I just switched to American football. Because American football...
You played American football?
Yeah, I was a kicker. As a soccer player, as a kicker.
Yeah.
I watched a couple of soccer... I watched my idol was Raphael Septien of Dallas Cowboys. So I had already watched him in Texas.
Learning all these
So I had
tonight.
I would have
lost that as a Jeopardy question. Did Amayo ever play American? I mean, hell no.
Don't feel bad. Nobody knew. Nobody knew until now. He's been holding on to this.
Man, that football thing was crazy because, I was dealing with like, I was doing my hustle because I wanted to get a full scholarship because I knew if I get a full scholarship, I can live on campus, I can have more extra cash in my pocket. Because I had already come with that heavy load, and Nigerian money was slowly starting to get less.
Whoa.
What the fuck is going on? All this crime was really, because Nigerians were like, the swagger was so much, the money was just, as that was occurring, I was doing my hustle I got my full scholarship. I was thinking about after college, what am I going after college? So I was already thinking ahead, okay, how am I going to, I have a whole focus going on. And I was in this martial arts school, the best martial arts school from my perspective in America at the time in DC, because it's a style called Jiaoga Kung Fu. And Jiaoga comes from Northern and Southern Shaolin, and it's a hybrid of some of the fiercest martial arts you can think of. And it has its roots in people like, Ip Man is related to someone who was part of Jiaoga, And so part of Jiaoga has some philosophy that comes from that style, from, Wing Chun. And Wong Fei Hong was legendary for being equally master at being an acupuncturist and martial arts. And he was the one that actually showcased the, how you could compare or he pit Chinese medicine through acupuncture against Western medicine. Told many different stories about that through film and all these Shaw Brother films have told many stories.
Shaw Brothers,
yeah. Wong Fei Hong is legendary.
Man.
And he's
Jiaoga like Hungar style, like close.
Jiaoga has Hungar.
Yeah.
He has his roots in Hungar. Choi Ga. Choi Ga is known for very, very incredible footwork. And Hungar, strong arms and strong arms. So Jiaoga has a blend of those two. Northern and Southern Shaolin. So he has all this cool stuff. And then he tells folklore through lion dance. And then I specialize in lion dance and lion dance music. So lion dance music is what fuels FU-ARKIST-RA, the music that I wrote for my project, which I developed at the Afro Spot.
Yes.
Because when I joined Antibalas,
I remember when it started.
I was like, if I want to be an Antibalas, I want to really get into what I would do if I want to do music for real. Yeah. And then I kind of started writing all these compositions, which is now going to be released as Antibalas playing Fu Chronicles.
Nice.
It comes out in 2020, February next.
Okay.
So yeah,
Nice,
so that's
man.
exciting.
That
so
is
like all
exciting.
that music, we kind of like, you know what, Antibalas, recorded because a lot of the guys who are Antibalas have always played on that music. So I felt the band was in a good place. It sounded really good. I've been playing with them for so long. What better band can just step in,
and
just deliver?
And they know the vibe. They're not
Yeah,
just, they know
exactly.
People can learn the notes and the arrangement,
Exactly.
But they got the feel.
if they can.
Yeah. And then Gabe Roth, who was in the beginning of everything, was the one that recorded it. It's going to be on Daptone. So, so it felt like I was completing the story, kind of how it all started. I started with these guys. I started writing this music, and now I'm completing the music with them as part of the, So it's sex when I was telling you about 2020 becoming like a period where everything is, I'm birthing all these projects. So at the same time, I'm releasing a solo piano album. And when I started writing songs for FU-ARKIST-RA and Antibalas, I was trying to figure out how to be a pianist. I didn't want to be a pianist. I was just trying to figure out how to write songs.
Right.
So Jordan, who has been a good friend, our trumpeter, you guys know Jordan.
Well, yes, I remember him. Yep.
So Jordan started his own label. It's called System Dialing. And he started out with Amayo. You know Amayo, the drummer?
Yeah.
Yeah, he and Amayo started a label called System Dialing. So Jordan been talking to me and said, "Yo, man, you gotta put out a piano record, man." Because he's kind of, listen and observe me mess around with piano for so long, and I said, "Why don't you just play whatever?" I said, "I don't really, you know what? Why don't I just play what I play at home?" So I wrote all these pieces that are just like a suite of exercises, like rituals. What I do when I wake up in the morning, and when I hit the piano is what I do.
Okay.
Just because my fingers, I had surgery, so I was told I need to exercise my fingers. So I do all this exercise with every note. I work my way from the highest to the bottom. I kind of did all that. This is what I do when I'm at home. So I did a whole series like that on this piano, and then I play a song. And I break it out again. I play another song. I play that song again slow. I play it fast. I play it again. So I did a whole really cool movement of shapes. And so that album is gonna be out in hopefully December, and it's just solo piano, just me on piano, and that is how I would reintroduce FU-ARKIST-RA, because when I formed FU, eventually became a string-based orchestra because I had cello, string. So now I could hear it a bit more lighter. It's lighter for my ears. When you play in Antibalas after 21 years. It's like, but that's how I hear stuff. I hear it. And I have to back off. So I back off when I get home. So I say, well, let me do a back off kind of music.
Yeah. It's important. It's definitely important to do,
Oh yeah. It's powerful, and it's in everything that it represents. It's like that. It speaks volume.
That's when that light as a feather, heavy as lead type thing, because you're hearing these things in different contexts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like you said, you're always just getting machine gunned with this. And
exactly.
Even your own head, you're like, this is just how I know this music.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you look at it and you perform it in a different way.
Even with me on piano now, like when I play piano, I want to play a lot of stuff. But after... this next year I'm gonna be doing solo piano shows. I think
you're gonna play it out.
I want to get out and do a solo piano. I'll play in wherever I can get the gig. Mm-hmm. I'm already starting to think it out, because once the record comes out, that will be the first thing we would do. Is I would tour with, because Jordan and I kind of started Jordan actually started, but I kind of jumped. He and I were just messing around, we did an interview on Relics Magazine, just he and I, talking about music. And then the guy wanted us to play live together so I said, sure, why not? So we called a couple of guys in Antibalas to join us. It was 4 of us.
Okay.
And then that 4-piece became Amayo. Amayo was what we were on the phone, and I was telling Jordan how I see the band, because I didn't want to. I said I don't want to do another band, Jordan, because it's like we do Antibalas. I got FU.
Yeah,
FU. I'm trying to squeeze FU down. I'm trying to bring it down and then reintroduce it as a smaller thing. So I don't want to just start to say, well, it's just half of Antibalas, And then so I said Amayo. So I say it with my weird accent. So yeah, that's a cool name. They will just pick that as the name of the band. It's ARMO, which doesn't really mean anything, But in my mind, I was trying to say it's like an armor, like an arm, like a
armor,
a shield, an armor, like a shield. I see it as a jacket. You could put it on,
like an iron shirt.
Yeah.
So it became that band. So now we have a record out from that band. So that. We're doing the second record for that. So we figure maybe that band should tour next year, and I'll open for the band as a piano. So
will you be singing as well when you're playing the piano, or is it just instrumental?
Eventually, I would first start off instrumental as piano, really wilding out. Uh-huh.
Is it like slower paced stuff, like real super chill stuff, or do you get
It's really cool. It's very playful in the beginning.
Yeah. That's cool.
Over that, I can just tell little short stories, because I'm slowly working my way from the high to the middle
Oh, so you're still...
Yeah, I'm just doing
Okay.
little things. I'm doing octaves. And I kind of roll, fingers rolling, and roll together.
Yeah.
Okay.
Roll back together. But it's very rhythmic, and it has a rhythmic thing happening.
Yeah.
And then I change the rhythm a little bit. So the rhythm is kind of engaging. So it's like I'm playing... I play similar rhythms with both fingers, but they are like inverted a little bit somehow.
I know,
I
okay.
invert it, and then I give it a nice little rhythmic spin. Rhythm that I'm used to hearing that way,
Okay.
So that kind of changes. It's very good. It's good listening to it because Jordan loves it. Jordan, you like it? Hey, if Jordan likes it, and he's putting it out. Great for the world.
That's a good fan to have.
Yeah, he thinks it sounds like what's that pianist name again? It's badass.
Monk?
Yeah.
Oh, Thelonious Monk.
Thelonious Monk.
Yeah.
Jordan thinks it sounds like a Thelonious Monk first record.
Huh. Wow.
It's like, really?
That's a good jump off.
Yeah, you do, man. I was like,
You're
come
doing
on,
something
dude.
right then.
You like, because I haven't really listened to Thelonious Monk. I've just seen his image. And maybe I may have heard something of his that someone said that's Thelonious Monk. So I'm not really.
But you're on the
that's
same
one
wavelength.
thing. That's one thing that I tried to do. Like when I started at the Afro spot, at that point I stopped listening to music because I said I want to write music. So I was really afraid.
Of sounding something like someone
Exactly.
else,
I was
yeah.
always weird. I was like,
I get- I
I don't want.
understand what you're saying,
I don't
too.
want someone to make to like say I'm sounding like that person. So I was
Right.
always trying hard to sound like nobody.
Yeah.
or kind of.
That's really hard to do.
Yeah. It's just like so. That's why I wouldn't listen to anyone. So I will only listen to what I'm doing. So I became closed into my own little head. Like all I ever do is what I've been doing. But I'm sure other people have sipped into what I'm doing. Like, I would let other people's technique sip into what I'm doing. So that's kind of how I'm doing it now, where if I like someone's technique of playing something, I'll play my song in that technique.
Yeah.
So I can still personalize it, so I'm not making it sound too much like that person.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like one of those. It's whatever. It's like an artistic decision about how I do
Like
what
also
I do.
like the crossroads of music and martial arts is because you can learn the form.
Yes.
But that form really comes to life when you make it
when
your
you,
own.
yeah.
And
And as
it's-
an application of just what you just said now kind of goes into the next thing I was about to say. Like when I started writing songs, the first song I wrote was MTTT. MTTT, when I wrote it, I wrote it intentionally. I put an intent behind the song. I said, I want this song not only to teach me how to write a song, I wanted it to be really, really, it needed to be very mathematical. It has to be like everything has to kind of fit nicely, and it's a play on rhythms.
It's got its edges. It's
Everything kind of fits nicely, and then it was like and then it moves, and it has an ABAB form. So I started with what you call ABAB form because I wanted to get away from Fela style of composing. So I said, well, if I write ABAB, which means you start a song at A, go into B, go back to A, and end up back in B. So my songs got really long. I said, good. I want it to be really long. So because all this, that's gonna break some rules. So those were things that was helping me just be free to go as far as I could go because I wasn't really sure where I was gonna end up with this. Let me just go on this journey. So that was the first song. And then I said, well, let me get into application of my martial arts. I've been teaching the style now and fighting techniques, and I specialize in teaching you with the language you're familiar with, like whatever things that you do besides the martial arts you're coming to learn. I would try to understand your other,
It's a good way to connect with people.
so I can really get you into understanding the martial arts through,
the metaphor of
metaphor of
what
you
your
do.
other
So that became a really cool way of me really stretching and getting deeper into teaching. And when I teach kids, I can really I know how to get into kids' heads. And
You've been
and get
teaching
them-
kids?
Well, that's how I started teaching.
Oh.
That's my first window of teaching. So I kind of shifted to teaching adults because I'm not around that often. So, and when you teach
see what you're
kids,
saying.
you want to be, you can't just teach them and then disappear.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, come on, man, you abandoned me.
Yeah.
So that part is really hard for me. That's the only thing. Like, I can't teach my daughter. My daughter is a bit too much like me in a way where she just knows everything.
Yep, trust me. I dealing with my kids with that too. I try to make my kids train with me too, to teach them Muay Thai.
No.
And it's not happening, man. My son knows everything.
Yeah.
He's a champion already. He doesn't need to know anything. I already know. And I'm like, okay, so you've never learned anything. How do you know? And he's like, I just know. It'll just happen. He has literally said that to me. When I need to know it, I'll just do it. And I'm like, no, it doesn't work that way. Like,
Well, you remember when
you have
we
to
were-
try hard and like you have to practice and condition yourself.
So
When we were talking about like being that age, like on another show, we were talking about this, and you're like, when I was like 9 or 10, I was a fucking ninja.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. 100%.
Like I was.
I
a
watched
ninja running
every
around
kung
the
fu movie, every
Right,
ninja
yeah.
movie. I knew I was a master.
Yes. Because I read some magazines and I had some nunchucks that I made, and I was getting ready to order a throwing star.
And with
now I'm a ninja now.
And with every movie, I got better.
Right. I knew some like
It was like a new scroll that I read.
Shokushigi, like hand shit,
Every movie was a new scroll that I read, so I got my knowledge got more in depth with every movie.
And you're 9.
true,
and you're 9.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Exactly.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I mean, the funny thing was like just like last month we went to the beach, because Jen's parents, my lady's parents, they're like professional vacationists. They retired,
Nice.
so all they do is take vacations and figure out which house we're gonna rent which beach house where we're gonna go. So
I see where the manifestation thing comes
you know
from.
what I'm saying? Yeah, exactly. So the last beach house, which was in Jersey, we saw this one book, So that book had a beautiful chapter, and it was about this person called Know It All.
Nice.
So we just took that page and read that chapter to Naila. I said, Naila, check out this page, Naila. Read that whole thing. Hey, Naila, do you know anyone like that? She's like, yeah, that guy in my class. She just she mentioned
One ear, not the
3
other.
people. Like she mentioned herself. Because she says, Daddy, what is Know It All? What is Know It All, Mommy? She was asking, but I said, well, remember that? Let me read that passage to you again, Nana. Maybe you didn't hear it very well. So we read that passage. This person is called Mr. Know It All. Check out this person's personality. So we read it to her again. She says, oh yeah, yep, it's her, all right. She still wouldn't see herself. So I was like, and then I started really slow. Nope, it ain't me. And then she started calling that person Know It All. Yeah, I'm gonna say Know It All tomorrow, and I'm gonna let her know. I said, yep, let her know, just know it all.
Yeah,
Not you.
my kids don't want.
We're always the archetypical typical hero in the story.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Always.
My kids don't want to be taught anything,
Nothing,
and they
bro.
definitely don't want to be taught by me. I know that. That's a fact.
Forget it, dude.
They
So
don't.
you got.
They don't
want
wanna-
to take him to an expert.
Yeah, they won't let me teach them. And I tell my son all the time, like, listen, man, we can have a good time. Like, well, this could be something for us, Like you grow up with us doing this together, and it'll be amazing. By the time a few years go by, you're gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
Because that's what it takes. I try to teach them that, like, you got to put in the work to be awesome. Everything that you love, people that do stuff that are good at
Do you
it,
ever show them like other kids who are like really
that are
bad?
awesome at
Yeah.
stuff? Yes, all the time.
And then like, what's their reaction? I wonder that. What's their reaction?
There is no reaction.
Yeah, they were like,
Yeah.
they just had to look
Isn't
away.
that weird?
Like whatever.
Yeah. Isn't it strange?
Yeah.
I don't understand. Okay, I'm glad that I'm not the only one dealing
No,
with this then. Because sometimes I'm like, what's wrong with my kids?
Because I know people whose kids are, I mean, I've taught other people's kids who are badass, but like, man, wish my kids can be that good.
Yeah, right. Yes, there are some kids that
Yeah.
just have it.
Oh yeah.
They're just like they're in it. They're focused. My nephew is like that with jiu-jitsu. I mean, the kid is a champion. He's winning medals left and right. I mean, he's just super focused, and it's awesome. Like it's really inspiring to see a little kid get into it like that. But then it's not fair to me to do this to my son, but I do it sometimes. I'll be like, "Look at your cousin."
Exactly. Well, you can't help it.
I can't help it. It just comes out. Like, look at your cousin, man. Look at him. And he's like, I don't care. And I'm like,
Exactly.
I'm like, but that's the problem. You should
You
care.
don't care. You should. Don't you want to go hang with him at least?
Exactly.
Let's go out and have.
Don't you want to have some healthy competition? Because healthy competition makes you succeed.
There is a school on Baaba Maal. There's that kickboxing. There's that mixed martial arts.
Uh-huh.
I met the guy. He's been, he has, and my daughter has gone to a couple classes there because they have after school program, and she really likes it. And then like Jen and I were deciding that I think we should sign her up because I just kind of want her to
Gonna make her do it.
Just go for 6 months
Yeah.
and get more discipline because whenever she goes, every time she would come home and tell us like, the lady that she always says, blah, 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 sir. I said, that's good.
Yeah.
Can you say that to me too? No, sir. I said, good, I like that. So one time I took her to the park to teach her some, so I used that. And she actually did it, but it didn't last.
No.
And after a while, she kind of said, I'm tired.
I don't want to do this.
I don't want to say sir anymore. I was like, damn.
I forced my
okay.
son to do jiu-jitsu for 2 years.
2 years.
I forced him. I forced him. Then I really saw that towards the end of it, I saw that he just was bummed. He didn't want to do it. And I knew that he kept going just to make me happy.
To make you happy.
And I said to him one day, I said, listen, you don't have to go back if you don't want to go back. He said, okay, I don't want to go back.
No,
It was like done quick, man. But I've been trying to bribe him more so lately. I just recently told him, I said, listen, I want you to train Muay Thai with me twice a week for 6 months. And then I'm going to buy you, whatever, PlayStation or whatever. And he's like, no, I'll just save up my own money. I said, man, come on.
I'll say.
I was like, what do I have to buy you a car or something?
Okay, I'll buy you a car. Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? It's like, what the hell? What's it gonna take?
I know. Like my mom bought a car to stop me from coming to America.
Really?
Yeah.
She was like, if I buy you this car,
I'll buy a car and you could just drive me to work every day. So okay, I drive to work every day anyway. I'll still go to America. I'll stay.
And drive.
Yeah, I told her. I said I'm still gonna go. She's like, man. Yeah, I still left, and then the only way I could go was I just showed her my passport. Got my
You're like,
visa.
I have this already.
I'm ready to go. All I need now
She was sad though, right?
some money.
That's scary though. To think about it as a parent.
I'm thinking
you would have a heart attack,
I would.
right?
I
If your
would,
daughter
like,
was
freak
17
out.
and she's
Yeah.
like, I'm going to wherever, you'd be like,
Shit.
oh
Exactly.
man, See,
Yeah.
you don't know the pain.
I think the reason why my mom was okay with it because I had already prepped her, because she saw that I was really driven.
Uh-huh.
I wasn't like, I wasn't like my others. Like she saw I was not like her sister's kids because I was my mom's only child. I was the only one driven in that. I was my mom's only child, but in my mom's whole group of kids, I was the only kid there who was just getting shit done because I was making sure I was doing shit. I was trying to be on her good side so she can give me money, so she can make, I was just, like that. I had 2 years to fucking prep for that shit. Mm-hmm. 2 years plan to get my mom on my good side. I walked in the bank, sorry man, the bank that hired me as a soccer player, like the first bank of Nigeria was, my mom was the manager there, so she could get a lot of us jobs there. So she got me a position because I graduated from high school, so she got me a position in the foreign exchange department. And that was where I was able to make all that money because the foreign exchange department, I was able to do deals, make a lot of extra cash, saved it up. I was saving it up, and I had all this money to make my moves, And that was like the thing at that time was 5 of us in my crew we all were trying to make moves. We all like we'll get together at night, we'll smoke, we'll watch the plane. Like at my house, my house was like my mom's house, you know, which is still there. Which is kind of I'm trying to do some awesome stuff with that house right now.
Nice.
So behind the house is like the airport. Behind the house is like the airport, and it used to be the international airport. The international airport has been moved further in, so we would see planes taking off. And I'll be there with my friends. We'll be there smoking and say, yeah, I'm flying next year.
Nice.
We're making our plans. Like, yeah, we had our moves, man.
There's something about being around an airport, like being younger and like just sitting
It's
there.
a good
and, like,
visual to see.
meditating
Like,
on that shit.
I can
like,
blast out of here.
Makes you, yeah.
We used to go watch planes come in, land, take off,
Yeah.
and just smoking. You just sit there and you're like,
Say,
wow.
I'm gonna be in that shit one day. I'm definitely gonna. It's like I saw myself. I said, I'm in it. My cousin, I knew. He wouldn't say anything. He would just nod, say, yeah. But I could see he didn't have the same drive. He drank too much. I was always helping him out. I mean, he was like my half brother. He was older, 2 years older than me, the smartest in the whole family. Math genius. He's one of those guys that if he had made it here, he would be whatever. He would be at MIT. Like we have two of them became my uncles. One of them became one of the smartest surgeons here, but then he got fucked up on Oprah. He had a bad patient, and he married the wrong woman, or his wife, things fell apart. You know how things fall apart. Wife goes after you, goes after one of your patients, shut down your whole operation. So he went through some crazy shit like that. But his younger brother, math genius, MIT. So we have all these mathematicians in our family, and like in one generation or another, in another family, be a math freak. You know, my half brother, who was the closest to me, I was like his caretaker. Like he prevented me from drinking because if I drank, I felt like there was no one to take care of him. So when we went out to the shrine, I wouldn't drink. He would just take one whole bottle, because bottles of beer are like this in Nigeria. They're like 40s.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'd just be at the bar, he would down 3.
He would.
We have 3.
Wow.
Another one. Third one. Because it was always like, there's this whole thing about people were like, it was like a show-off thing where you would just, oh, who's that? Oh, that's the guy. Here's the man. Like, you have like this whole, you walk in the room, I'll take 3 down right away.
My family's
you get
like
this
that
whole,
too. My culture is like that.
Yeah,
It's
you
like
get a
that
whole
too.
like,
It's about
being like a macho.
if you can handle your booze, then it's
You're the
more
man.
like you're the man. Yeah.
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 But the thing is, he couldn't handle it. He would drink like that, and then within a half hour, out. Then I had to carry him home. So that had to try. I did it twice though, not like a lot. I did it those 2 times. Traumatized me so much that it stuck to me for so long, you know. And that actually helped me. It helped me, you know, keep my head together, and you know, like
To
sometimes
not go down like that.
Yeah. You know, so like my focus was, you know, my martial arts gave me a good focus, and I kind of kept it through till like today. When I think about martial arts, you know, like man, it's like I have a better clarity,
Oh, sure.
and
It's like
I
a
see
seatbelt.
Oh man, like, and especially with all this new insight and new knowledge, and you know this energy sources that we are like starting to tap into, and how they actually are so connected, and how I smoke weed, for example, like I feel, and then every time I see my relatives, they've all, you fucking looking young. I say, yeah, there's some things that I've told myself that I tell myself all the fucking time. Every smoke, especially at home in the morning, my smoke is, I just don't fucking puff, dude. I'm telling the smoke to take care of me. I'm thanking the smoke. I'm using it as part of my, you know, my
Your being.
affirmative being, right? You know, like this is part of who you are. And if you don't realize what it is and what it's part of and what it's doing for you, dude, you're selling yourself short.
Yeah.
Well, that's when,
Then you're just smoking.
yeah,
Exactly.
when people talk about it being medicine, that's using it medicinally. Otherwise, you're tapped into what it's doing and it's
But
part of your
medicinally,
fabric, or you're just getting high.
But people make the mistake when you say medicinally, that they think only the physical.
Right.
Medicine for the physical, not the mental, the spiritual.
Yeah.
You know, it's 3 different bodies.
Exactly.
Most people think when you have medicine, they think of just your physical body only. They neglect the other 2 realms.
The way it's the attitude of like, oh, it's medicine. It's like from people who don't grasp it on that level, it's like you're crutching yourself the same way people get addicted to opioids. You're just high all the time.
Right, exactly.
And like
You're just abusing.
Yeah.
And too much meditation is not good too. If that, I mean, unless you're
Well,
but like but when you're just getting high and you're like, I'm meditating.
You have to
you're
like
no, you're not.
now.
You're just getting high.
See, at that point, when you say it's, I wouldn't say too much meditation.
That came out wrong.
You would say like meditating in different forms at different times, because you have walking meditation, singing meditation, speaking
Yes,
meditation.
that's right.
You have all the meditative practices that you can actually, it's almost like you need to be fully engaged and fully aware in those times, basically being present all the time.
That's what I was leaning towards.
Yeah,
Was like
presence is meditation. Like being
presence
present
is
all
meditation.
the time. Yeah,
It's
so
applying.
and that helps.
Yeah, it's various methods.
And that's I think people who freak out have difficulty with dealing with. Well, I shouldn't say that. That's even wrong for me, because people, I don't know why they freak out. Whereas demons.
Everybody's hard drive is programmed.
Exactly.
Like,
I stop right there. I don't want to be a master of that at all. But I think where I was driving out.
You're like, I know exactly why people freak out. No, I don't. Just kidding. I never said that. That's great.
I made some for me some giant leaps with what martial arts are, kind of what I'm using it for and how I'm using it to teach these days, where I've evolved into doing these workshops where I've been able to sort of like figure out how to tie in your, like figuring out who you are, like how do you figure out who you are, that kind of whole thing, and your being, and how that becomes part of what you're doing now, like, so through this form of exercises that I evolved through martial arts, I was able to I'm now able to tell people how to find their individual soundtracks. How do you tap into who you are? Like first of all, I say, what's your name? So like all my workshops, I always start with each person has to know each person's name, and so we start and do. Each person will do repetition of your name, so you can own your name, re-own your name. So first of all, and part of owning your name is, can you remember what the circumstances were that caused you to be named that name? Like if you don't, it's cool to kind of figure it out, find out, call your relatives. Why did you name me that? What happened? Like, what was make it a fun experience of discovering.
I want to hear that conversation.
Rediscover who you are, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So people take that as a homework. Go figure out if you don't, but if you have, we'll put it on the table as an example for the class, and we'll repeat that name like about 20 times, and kind of like go into the exercise of figuring out notes. Whatever it is, circumstances, and once we figure that out, we'll develop a soundtrack for that person.
What do you mean the soundtrack for that person?
The soundtrack of how you can wake yourself up in the mornings, when you look in the mirror, like how do you activate your whatever chakra is. So first, I focus on the 5th chakra, which is your solar plexus. Your solar plexus is who you are, like that's where you determine who your person is, and how you can deal with whatever fear, excitement, where you control where your emotions can. I would say control, where you can direct or redirect your emotion. It all starts with the solar plexus. So
that's like the seat.
Yeah,
the seat of your being.
That's exactly. So when we do, then I would teach people like this exercise from qigong, which I learned through workshops called Small Universe, and how your small universe exercise can return you and take you back to your root. And I would say, what is your root? I say, well, why don't you assume that you are part of today's story? Like, story is determining that all humans come from Africa. So, so then I would take you back to, you know some of the rhythms of Africa?
Yeah.
Then I would teach them songs of Ishu. Ishu is the medium that governs all crossroads, points of making intersection, a point where you got to make a decision about who you are and who you want to be, or blah blah blah, right?
What do you call it?
Issue.
So it's like kind of like
Elegba, yeah.
Exactly.
So I'll teach you one or two songs from that, or whichever person knows. I'll use you just invoke that, because every time you invoke that, you are tapping into the source, your basic, whatever, the vibration.
Like a door.
There's a certain vibration that we all resonate on.
The bass,
and
exactly.
Go
The bass
there.
frequency.
And how often do you go there? Make it your daily routine through who you are, your soundtrack. If you don't, the soundtrack helps you to figure out just something to start with, because that's where you start. And then you can evolve into, if you're going to do Om or whatever, the esoteric ones that you learn. So it's more like giving people a tool to build from, to getting back to your center, where you do come from, because that helps you determine that, you know what, you do come from Earth, and then that Earth means whatever it is, and they call it whatever. If it is Africa, so the reason why I use Africa, because Africa has the source of that Iroko, the spirit tree, the root tree. So when I think about root tree, I think about the basic rhythm of the spirit, right? So through those songs and through those rhythms, you start building whatever, reshaping who you are, in your individual self. So I do this workshop in concert with learning martial arts movements, basic movements, and then doing it with my wife's program, the Miss Manifestation program. So our program. So when I'm doing that, I'm helping the individual learn something about singing, about voice and vibration, and about breathing, and about how to bring yourself from, high tension to low tension, and how to meditate, how to enter your body, and how how do you entering your body starts with obviously being able to see. First, one thing about that is like if you know like an anatomy, or if you don't know anatomy, I always recommend learning about anatomy, so you can see your inside organs.
Yeah.
So once you see your inner organs, right, and you can enter it. So if your mind can enter your inner organ, you could feel like you could actually create a shape of whatever it is. And in terms of meditation, or qigong, is you create like a plastic tube.
Yeah.
It's almost like
I totally know what you're saying.
You see what I'm saying? So you feel like if you watch all those movies called whatever, those alien movies, you can see something entering your body.
Yeah.
So enter that, right?
Yeah,
Then you
right.
become that thing.
Yeah.
And then you kind
Like
of
a new
feel-
structure within your structure.
So you build your structure.
Yeah.
So that way it helps you, like eliminate the outside world.
Yeah.
Then you become more.
You live in that
within that
structure
structure.
that you
Yeah.
Whenever I get hurt,
Yeah.
like trauma-wise, not just like a swollen ankle or something like that. I mean like actual trauma. Like when I
Yeah.
hurt my eye, for example, and I had those surgeries, I would literally be laying there,
And
super meditation. I mean, I'm healing. I'm surgery, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm meditating, but I'm in and out of sleep and out of consciousness because you're recovering
Yeah.
from surgery.
Yeah.
I mean, that's major trauma, right? So I would when I was coherent, I would imagine myself like I would take like light inside of me and push it towards where the trauma area was, and imagine like cellular reconstruction all the way to like healing.
Yeah.
Like fully healed. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
now I don't know if
directed-
that's just me being a crazy ass motherfucker.
No, man.
It was the painkiller.
Or I
It
actually
was
like
all the
feel
painkillers.
myself that way. I don't know.
You were having what I call you were having the DMT moment.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much.
Because you have the knowledge, or you have the knowledge.
Yeah.
And if you have the knowledge, is how often do you exercise that knowledge?
And it's
So
like
that- what you
digital
did
too.
right
I'm talking
now-
like digital.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
You're traveling.
You know?
You're traveling, and you're
Yeah.
you're in your how you put it? When I do like this,
Yeah.
I'm seeing the electricity.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm seeing the electricity, but I'm also making
Encompassing it,
electricity
yeah.
that I'm following, but that energy is also leading as well. So
Yeah.
you're like, just go with it, and where does it go? Like it needs
Yeah.
to go here. or
Do you
like-
feel like you possess electrical energy?
currency?
Currency, yeah. Do you-
I don't know if
you
you
feel
see
it?
these laser
Yeah.
eyes.
Yeah.
Like,
No, you know,
You know what's
wait till I
funny?
burn a hole through your chest in 10 minutes.
let me shed light to that a little bit, because when I went to this I went to a qigong workshop that was put on by my elder, one of our sifus. When the first thing he said in that qigong, which is kind of interesting to me, was the first thing he said, the word qi has its roots in Africa.
Really?
So
What?
I sat back. Yes.
Tell me.
And it was a Chinese guy that said that. And then he gave an analogy. He said, whenever you hear, actually, the way he put it was, it has its roots in voodoo. Or voodoo has its roots in China. In that connectivity, he explained it this way. We have a thing in Qigong called remote healing, where we can perform a healing exercise here on the doll that represents the patient in a distant location. And that practice, they call it voodoo in Haiti, or in Orisha practice, which is, we do have chakra points where when you put a needle in, you can cause ailment, emotion, immobility in the person that you are, directing it to. And
I see the connection here now.
Yeah. So from that explanation, he didn't go as far as he wanted to go, but he just gave us as a basic info in connectivity.
That's an interesting point. Yeah, that's what.
So we did it. Then at some point in that class, I'm just jumping forward, we did a group thing called, we practiced remote healing, where we all got together in a circle. After we had done several exercises to determine what we all were, I was electrical energy. The reason was because I live in the city. So when you live in a city, you are always around high vibration.
Yeah.
So
It's always plugged in.
Yes, for you to survive in that environment, your body naturally would raise its vibration to meet that.
Because that's the voltage and the current. That's,
Yeah.
So it makes sense
You're
why you
charged,
feel
yeah.
like. So when I was in that group, I was in the group from a big city who had electrically charged energy. So we did remote healing as a group. And they do that in ancient China, where a whole group would get together to heal another whole, or like one person who is really ailing so bad. So this is an ancient practice, and it only exists because.
Well, even just like the group prayer too in general.
Exactly.
It's just a higher vibration.
Yeah, it's a higher vibration, and it just kind of like expresses, or at least it helps us delve into the explanation of why people, or why some new science or old science has always said we all exist in this vacuum, and there's this vacuum that we all exist in. We're all tapping into the same source, so the energy is there. We're just antennas, and we don't really store anything. everything exists in that field.
Right.
Conduits.
This is the only.
We are
thing.
just
like you could take this away,
and
that energy is still flowing.
Still flowing, exactly.
Yeah. We're just a shell.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know, so it's like when you understand that in its at its biological level, then you create a practice called daily practice
Right. Living.
of being that light on a
Yeah.
constant basis. So therefore, you are constantly renewing, regenerating, and you're living in a place of whatever constant, limitless
Right.
source of thinking. So, in a sense, not to say that you're avoiding the daily practice of paying the regular bills and taking care of business, but you're not caught up
Right.
in knowing that in any condition, everything is constantly temporary and things are always constantly getting better depending on where you position yourself. If you put yourself as a manifester, you put yourself in a place of, you know what, I don't give a shit what's going on. I'm going to stay happy all the time because I want to make sure that I'm keeping that nutrient inside of me, keeping on a happy kill. So I don't care if you know. Bottom line is knowing what to be tapping into at the right time, you know. And that's kind of like, that's been like a wonderful thing to figure out how to make that part of my martial art training or teachings. Like when I teach fighting, like if you find yourself in a place where you want to fight, I teach from a place of love. Or I fight from a place of happiness and love, where I use my happiness as a source of distraction for the person who I'm about to engage in. Overt or excessive emotion always throws, especially when it's not normal, when it's not expected, you know, when it's the opposite. Like when someone expecting you to get fear, you laugh. And when you're about to punch someone, instead of punching them with anger, you punch them while you're smiling. You know, at the same time, you know, like
Sounds terrifying.
When we're,
no, my brother.
when we're sparring, you know, we're
That sounds
laughing and joking the
terrifying.
whole time.
You get beat up by Amayo and he's laughing at you.
And he's
He's
just
smiling.
laughing.
This is great.
Exactly. And it's better when they get you. Instead of you to get angry, you laugh about it. Because then that person is like not knowing like what to expect. Is this person?
What are they resonating on?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't catch that resonate.
Yeah,
Like,
it
they can't
throws
catch
that person off and allows you to either get away, you know,
Yeah,
whatever. And that's like usually, like especially like when I was doing a class at this yoga spot called Secret Yoga, and there was another brother there who was also teaching capoeira. He was very young and he was teaching Angola because not Angola. He was teaching regional.
Yeah, regional.
And regional tends to be very flashy, and which is usually associated with youth as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Because people that tend to study, you know, like Angola tends to be a bit more kind of like chill, a bit more, older. You know, somehow I always feel like people that I meet that study that version of
Angola is more like, isn't it more lower to the ground too,
yeah,
right?
Lower to the ground, very rootsy.
Yeah.
And there's a lot more music too. They focus more on the rhythm of the music, more on the rhythm of the music with the movements. So the movements are slower. Music
Yes,
is slower.
exactly.
Regional
There's more flash jumping and it's a lot of
faster
more
too.
acrobatic too.
Yeah, exactly. This guy practiced regional. So, and he was trying to show me some moves. In my style, I become a cripple. I'll let you. Shit, it's awesome. So that's how I did to him because I don't show nothing at all. I was just trying to figure out where he was coming from. Were you trying to really show me something? Or are you proving that you are better than me because you're smaller and I'm much bigger than you? I wasn't sure which one it was.
Yeah.
Or was this just trying to be friendly? And because he didn't give me any of those, I gave him nothing. I just gave him.
You return the energy.
I returned like I'm just I don't know what I'm doing, bro. I'm just here. So, it was kind of cool to see that it affected him in such a way. He didn't know how to come back.
That's what I was going to ask. Like,
he didn't know. So I never saw him again. He never really approached me. Because sometimes you just give him completely nuts. Or,
you're just like, I'm going to lay down right
Yeah.
here. He's like, what the fuck? This is not how we do this.
My pants ripped. Oh shit, man! My pants are ripped.
That is great.
I just started laughing because my pants ripped. And ended the whole thing, and then I had 3 of my students there, all kind of like we all kind of laughed. Then later, I kind of started. I didn't even discuss that with them. I just moved on. I moved on to other things, and then because there was an older woman there, the older black woman, because they are like, you can't pull the curtain over an older black woman's face. She just wants to know, when I'm on the subway, like, what do I do? She just loved the whole idea about smiling. I said, because that smiling one works, because if you smile to someone...
It throws them off, for sure.
Totally. And then when it goes laugh uncontrollably, shit, yeah. Either they're going to hit you, but when they hit you, they're not going to hit you right. They're going to hit you with anger. They're not going to aim right. The idea is, don't aim right, but you need to aim right and then get out. So it's like one of those things. This giving people little tools to, because martial arts is really about, it's
The
about
chess game.
surviving. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's not about. The other one is just more like showboat, to go in competition, which I did, and it's kind of cool to be able to do the movements and understand. Balance, because that one really helps me on stage, like being able to be very organic in my movements.
Yeah, we talk about this all the time,
Yeah.
a couple of times, about martial arts being in everything.
Yes.
Like I've mentioned before, like growing up, skateboarding.
Yeah.
I always thought skateboarding was a martial art.
Yeah.
That's what it meant to me. It was like another kung fu.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Just like to have discipline with your body and to do weird, like kind of like kicking movements, and like you're just incorporating this piece of wood with wheels on it.
And
Yeah.
how much it
But acrobatically making it to flip around in unison with you and land it in different ways,
Yeah.
style-wise. Everybody has different style. It's like different styles of skateboard kung fu. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
It's like yeah.
Yeah, and that kind of just like music, same thing.
Yes.
I mean, that was like in my when I joined the crew, with Antibalas too. All I thought about was just where it wasn't much more, because I already knew all this stuff, the movies, the soundtrack, and the obvious stuff. I was trying to figure out other things, like just the movement versus rhythm, or movement versus like how the sound moves and stops, like, and not swooshes, just more like rhythmic connections, like long versus short, triple versus quadruple. And I looked at it as a technique, like if I'm fighting, usually like in Jaoga, for example, we do in throwing techniques, I throw jab, jab, hook, cross, slide, hook, cross, hook. So I'm thinking,
It's a rhythm.
Yeah, the rhythm of the movement of like I just punch, and I stop for a second, and I ducked, and I swung over, slam.
How are you going to conduct that movement? Like if you were conducting an orchestra, you would be like, boom, 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 boom.
Exactly.
That's what I think sometimes.
Yeah,
is like that orchestra
exactly.
You just
behind
wrote another song, man. It's called Hook, Hook, Jab, Cross, Hook.
I just, when he said that, I was like, yeah, it sounds like somebody's getting rained on right now after that ninth jab. Slide.
I like the slide in
14
there, bro.
jabs. You're like,
Hook,
if
hook,
you're
jab,
still
cross, hook, slide.
trying to come back into that, you don't even, he's going to be laughing at you the whole time, smiling, whipping your ass up and down, man.
and then
Smiling and laughing, freaking the fuck out of you.
Slide, jab, jab, jab.
for real, man. Like,
I'm sorry. When you described that combo, I was just like,
Excellent.
ooh, somebody's having a bad night tonight. That's like 20 jabs in a row.
Stop
And then a
laughing.
hook.
Stop laughing. Stop hitting me.
When I saw you, when you were explaining it, I saw you in the like kung fu temple, like on the gravel. Like I stepped when you did that. I saw that in my head.
You throw the cripple move in there too.
He said, slide. I was like, I saw it in the movie like, with the film.
Yeah, it's like like all this like 2-man fighting set. Like when you know, and the funny thing was like recently when we were tracking, after we tracked, all the songs again, we tracked it at Gabe's spot at Daptone. So I went over to Gabe's spot. It's his spot in Riverside in LA in California. So we were talking about maybe we should find some kung fu yells and screams to use as So I said, no man, like in the form I got all the yells, but we decided to just go and listen to like soundtracks of yells from Shaw Brothers. Oh my God, that shit was fucking awesome. So yeah, I can't wait to share some of the music with you guys, man. Like Fist of Flowers, which is like gonna be it didn't fit the LP. It's a bit too the LP.
I like the name.
Only 5 songs. Yeah, Fist of Flowers is an actual form that I teach in Jauga. In Jauga, it's called Flower Fist. So I flipped it called Fist of Flowers. I wanted to express the flower of life, but I didn't. I mean, I thought it was too obvious to get into the flower of life and make it too. So I just described the movements of Fist of the kung fu movements. So I wanted to be able to interject the movement with, the graphics, the shape, which I'm kind of like in that. I'm in that mode. I'm trying to shoot a video in Nigeria. Like I'm going to Lagos literally next month.
Oh, awesome!
For a Felabration, and I want to shoot 2 scenes for the album. The album comes out in 2020 February. So we're hoping to have a video ready. As the album drops, I want at least one video ready. Yeah, because I want to kind of like I want to take advantage of kung fu movies and how they how they drop, have like a preview comes out.
Yeah. It's awesome. What's the new album called?
The new album is called Fu Chronicles. Like, Kung Fu Chronicles.
Nice, man. Looking forward to it. I can't wait to hear that. You guys were just in Bali and France too, right? Recently?
Yeah, I've been like my wife Jan, she's been doing this program in Bali, where she takes her clients to Bali at the end of their program. They sign up with her for this Manifestation Masters program where they take their business to another whole level. So they have certain like a crash course, whatever, like the finale of their month. Of their 6-month program, they end in Bali with a week of like hardcore, intensive work on concluding, their project, which is called like all paid for. So they basically go as part of their program. So I go with them to help out with raising, taking care of Naila. So that also helps us, do other things. So I've eventually create a program to support what she's doing, and then we met some friends out there, and like looking at some possibilities out there. It's really this cool spot called Sumbawa, which is like off the grid, for artists that,
in Bali.
They get recommended by me. I haven't moved there yet, but
No, but I bet you it's amazing.
Yeah,
exactly. It's incredible.
Would love to go there.
It's incredible, man. So I'm looking forward to like at least just hang and see the evolution there. It's like a good spot to see how you can be off the grid and build natural.
Yeah.
And they have they're doing things like permaculture style. They have farmers out there. They got builders from Burning Man building some organic structures, pyramids and whatnot. Really, really cool stuff. And I see it as a spot to experiment on how to build on a coastal how to build and live on a coastal, or be a coastal resident. You need to live temporary, be able to float away when the cataclysms. For me, I see it as, like there is limitless ways that we could continue to exist if we choose to want to exist on this plane, or if we want to follow the likes of, Nassim Haramein, who I've been following, like some heavy thinkers and people who, who believe in, figuring out how to take off this planet, using singularity and having it available to every person,
Who'd you just mention?
There's a guy called Nassim Haramein.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, he's a pretty cool thinker, physicist, scientist.
Gotta check him out.
Yeah, he's got a pretty cool project in the West Coast. Yeah, I'll share some of that with you.
Yeah,
Just his
please.
name alone, if you Google his name, you'll
Nassim.
Nassim Haramein. Yeah,
Haramein.
yeah, he's
Okay.
I think it's called the what's that program called? It's he's what's that called again? It'll come to me in a minute. But his way of explaining, how the universe works is pretty cool. I mean, there's nothing new, but he just happens to be a guy that can describe it in a very hippie way. He's a hippie. He's a hippie, and he actually did some scientific discoveries of his own.
That's cool.
Yeah, that actually is changing the scientific world.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
I'm excited to check this guy out.
Yeah, it's cool, dude.
Oh man, I gotta tell
man,
you,
what
man.
What you guys been up to, man? I've been just running my mouth, man.
No,
Non-stop.
it's awesome, man. I think it's so great, man. I had a great time. You're one of those dudes, man, that whenever I run into you, it's like an instant time machine.
Oh man,
Like I feel like it's like 1998.
for real, man. 1998. Woo!
Because I'm associating that because that's when I met you. That's what I
Yeah.
mean. So it brings me right back to like day one. I'm like, holy shit, that's so crazy. Time goes by fast, man.
Fast.
Time goes by fast.
We want to thank Amayo for coming by, hanging out with us at the Tiger Pit. Don't forget to check us out on Instagram and Facebook at the Tiger Pit Podcast. Give us a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we'll see you next time. Take it easy.